Hello everyone, Victor Tanzik here, and welcome to the Reddit Railway. Today's destination is r/pro revenge, so all aboard! Last summer I took a job at a kids camp. During the hiring process, I spoke to a woman who would become my boss. Something felt off the entire time, and I had a really bad feeling about working for her, but I needed the money, and it was the only callback I had. She then made me and all the other new hires come in twice for orientation. Both times it lasted the whole day and wasn't included in our pay because it wasn't mandatory. I became the boss of my team. On the first day, we had to deal with over 20 kids and their parents. Problem was, the boxes with the name lists, the toys and everything we needed weren't there. We basically improvised. We wrote down their names as they arrived and hoped they had indeed signed up. Later, the boxes arrived, but the contents were measly at best. Among these were little instruments the kids could decorate and take home. At least, we thought they could take them home. When our boss came around a few days later to check on things, she was furious. She scolded us, saying the kids shouldn't have been allowed to take the instruments home. Keep in mind, she never told us that before. The next few days were like this. She came around and screamed at us for something nonsensical. When we asked her when she told us to do something a certain way, she said it was mentioned during the orientation, which it wasn't. In fact, she never really gave us any instructions during orientation. She just talked about her personal life. She had a real knack for offending people. She once shouted at a colleague of mine who wanted to go home to her toddler after working a 10-hour shift. My boss asked her in front of everyone if she still breastfed him, and that's why she had to leave. If she didn't, then she didn't really have a reason to go home. I don't know what galaxy she learned her logic in, but it wasn't this one. She also had a problem with the parents and the kids. She didn't want lactose intolerant or handicapped kids at the camp because they were too much of a hassle. Regarding parents who had questions or complaints, her instructions were to educate them like kids because they behave like that when they don't get fucked by their wives the night before. She also made us work 12-hour shifts without a break, which is illegal where we live. One time, I simply stood up and left after working one of these shifts, and she scolded me. Of all the terrible things she did, 2 events really stand out. Now, this woman had an unhealthy obsession with COVID. She would change the rules nearly every single day, which led to many misunderstandings with the parents. She also kept asking the children whether they had an antigen test or a PCR test. Of course, they didn't know. One little 5-year-old asked what the difference was, and my boss gave her the scolding of a lifetime. She said the kid was as dumb as a rock for not knowing. The kid tried hard not to cry and didn't come back after that. I was shocked. I probably should have slapped my boss for that. The second incident was even more disturbing. A 4-year-old boy hit his head at the playground when they all went outside. I was back in the office when my colleague came running in. While they called the ambulance, I phoned my boss. I told her what happened and how we were responding. She was furious, not because the boy got hurt, but because we called the ambulance. In her world, it wasn't that bad if the parents didn't find out. Did she think they wouldn't notice the open wound on their child? Thankfully, the boy was completely fine. That was the last straw for me. I had only been working for her for 9 days and had had enough. I wanted to call her back and ream her out. Instead, I calmed down and called out sick the next day. I went to my doctor and told her how abusive my boss was and that I couldn't terminate my contract early. To keep me from snapping, my doctor put me on sick leave without an end date. My boss was not amused when I sent her the doctor's note, but she had no choice. She was legally obligated to pay me while I was on sick leave. I then told the rest of my teammates about this and encouraged them to follow my example, which they did. Within 2 weeks, 6 other workers had also left on sick leave. Word got around, and within a month, nearly all of the remaining staff left. Some also on sick leave, and others outright quit. She tried to call and beg some of them to come back. She offered bonuses as high as double the pay, but nobody wanted to help her. The parents also had enough and took their kids out of that camp. So in the end, this is what she got for being a disrespectful bitch. 1. She lost all of her workers. 2. Everyone hates her and wants nothing to do with her. 3. She had to pay me for 2 full months, plus overtime and any withheld bonuses. And 4. Her entire business collapsed due to the bad publicity. I don't know what happened to her after that, and I really don't care. My only hope is she went back to hell where she belongs. I'll say, this woman sounds like a real cow. She also clearly doesn't like children. It always baffles me whenever people enter professions they actively hate. Is the pay just that good, or are they gluttons for punishment? Either way, well done to OP for shutting this person down. You may have saved many kids from years of trauma. Within the space of 24 hours, I lost both my job and my home. I spent the next 2 years living out of my car. Given my situation and that I was located in a large city, I was constantly in survival mode. I was always worried, always cautious. If I ever encountered a troubling situation, I would think of the most effective, brutal, and quickest way to remove it. Despite this, I was able to have a relationship with someone who was a bit more stable than me. She didn't really care that I lived in a car, as I was always presentable and could hold down temp work. Nobody really knew where I lived unless I told them. She was also big on helping people and was genuinely a good person, or so I thought. We had a falling out and gradually lost contact. We remained friends on Facebook, which she was fairly popular on with about 500 friends. This will be important. About a year after we broke up, I was doing much better. I was about to start a new job and would be moving out of my car and into a more permanent residence. I was at a cafe tapping away on my laptop when I got a call from my ex completely out of the blue. After a brief exchange of pleasantries, she got to the point. She was pregnant and her boyfriend had left her. She needed someone to take her to the abortion clinic. She couldn't ask any of her friends or family because she was considered the poster child, perfect girl. You know the sort, the kind that would never do anything so immoral as get pregnant out of wedlock. I was torn. On one hand, I was annoyed this was the only reason she was talking to me. On the other, I tried to do the right thing whenever I can. But I really couldn't help her because I was supposed to drop my car off at a friend's house later on. I would then be hopping on a bus the next day to attend orientation for my new job, which was in another state. Even if I wanted to help, which I really didn't, I couldn't. I told her that, and shit hit the fan. She started screaming at me. She was hysterical. She cried and said I was a horrible person. She said I had to help her, that I didn't care about her, etc. She was so loud that the people surrounding me started to stare. I told her in a tense voice that I had to get off the phone and for her to send me a message. My Facebook chat window starts lighting up with more insults. I then start asking her for details about her situation. She confirms in the chat everything we talked about on the phone. I then asked why her boyfriend ran out on her, as I thought they were close. She tells me there was a chance the baby wasn't his. Once again, I tell her I can't help her for the aforementioned reasons. Up to this point, I was willing to wish her luck and let it go. Then she drops this bombshell. If you don't help me with this, I'm going to tell everyone the baby is yours and that you raped me. Oh, hell no. She did not just say that. Then I realized she said it over a Facebook chat. Instead of telling her off, my survival mode kicks in and I have only one priority. Destroy this bitch. And I know just how to do it. I ask her if she's serious when she knows there's no way the kid is mine. She says it'll be my word against hers, and who are people likely to believe, her or some homeless loser who lives in his car? Now that I had enough ammo, I pretend to relent. God damn it, fine, I say. I'll help you, but I can't take you to the clinic tomorrow. It'll have to be later this week. I have to change my plans. Let me call you tomorrow. She agrees. I then go to work. I post the transcript of our chat on my Facebook page. Within minutes, it has been seen by over 100 people on her friends list. I also tagged all of our mutual friends, her employers, and her church. For good measure, I also sent it to her parents. Almost instantly, my phone starts to blow up. I didn't answer anything. I just shut off all of my equipment and went to my car to spend one final night in it. Yes, my life did improve dramatically after that, which is more than can be said for hers. She not only got fired, she had to delete all forms of social media and move across the country. Was this over the top? Maybe, but it was so sweet. I agree. I'm getting Jessica Lovejoy vibes from this woman. You know what I'm talking about. Squeaky clean image, but was pure evil inside. Look at what she was willing to accuse OP of. Disgusting. He was completely justified in how he reacted. That's the only way to bring down terrible people, by exposing what lurks beneath the mask. Well done, OP, and congratulations for turning your life around. Best of luck to you. And with that, I'll end the video here. Like, share, and subscribe if you haven't already, and leave a comment down below. Thank you very much for watching, and have a good one.